This blank piece of paper represents all of their complaints and everything that is in their heart and in their mind, but it also shows that they are not allowed to express any of those thoughts or feelings. In the last week, we've seen a series of pretty extraordinary protests kick off in China. It's mostly related to the enforcement of China's very strict zero COVID policy. A string of tragedies in recent weeks, including a quarantine bus crash and a building fire that between them killed almost 40 people. In response to these tragedies, we've seen a run of protests break out over the weekend across major cities in China and dozens of university campuses. Safely expressing dissent in China has been effectively eliminated under the authoritarian rule of Xi Jinping. So when people do want to protest, as we've seen over the last week, they've had to find very creative ways of doing it and sort of safer ways of doing it. So one of the main themes of these protests that we've seen are people holding up blank sheets of paper. Now, there's been sort of multiple meanings attached to these pieces of paper. The color white is a funeral color in China, and so these pieces of paper are being seen as as a sign of mourning for the deaths last week. But they're also a sign of the censorship and what people are not allowed to say. This particular protest is showing the Friedman equation. It's a mathematical equation governing the expansion of the universe, but it's also a play on words. So the Friedman equation, it sounds like freed man, and so by showing this, they're making a comment about wanting to have more freedom. This viral photo of one woman walking 3 alpacas down Yongqi Road in Shanghai has been quite popular. It's a bit of a strange reference, but what it means is the alpaca, or the grass mud horse. In Chinese, the name is a homonym for the insult, go fuck your mother. So back in 2009, when China's internet censorship was growing much stricter and the technological controls on people's expressions were getting tighter and tighter, people on social media platforms started to post pictures of alpacas or the grass mud horses as a way of expressing their frustrations. As these protests started to kick off in places like Shanghai and Beijing, they attracted a pretty swift police response. In many cases, the police arrived and they were urging protesters to stop shouting dissenting slogans. So in this case, we had people shouting for the end of lockdown, for the end of COVID restrictions, for the end of mandatory testing. Police responded with requests to stop shouting these dissenting slogans. And so in a bit of, poking fun at them and a bit of irony and sarcasm, the crowd returned and started shouting that they wanted more lockdowns and they wanted to do more COVID tests. One key element of people's complaints is that there is no apparent exit plan from zero COVID in China. The government is incredibly wedded to this policy. There is very little sign that they plan on ending it anytime soon, despite the fact that health experts worldwide have said that essentially this virus at this point cannot be eliminated. And so people are wondering what the answer is. What is going to happen in China from now? Are they going to be stuck in this system of endless lockdowns?